Hello students, today's agenda is welcome to Module K. We're going to be learning about expressions and you will be able to work on page 1. Today, students will be able to identify 5 different parts of an algebraic expressions. Okay, so let's start with some vocabulary. And so we have here, it says numeric expression. A numeric expression involves different arithmetic operations which are solved through order of operations, or if you remember from previous modules, it's called PEMDAS. So es una expresión numérica y es la que se resuelve a través de el orden de operaciones, conocido como PEMDAS, y envuelve las diferentes operaciones de aritmética. So an example would be something like 5 plus 18 minus 6. Okay, so that's basically a numeric expression. It just has numbers and it can be with addition, subtraction, multiplication, etc. Okay. An algebraic expression is similar to a numeric one, with the only difference that this uses variables. And it will look something like 5x, let me grab another pen, 5x plus 18y minus 6. And so some of them might have variables, meaning letters, or some of them might not, and we'll learn a little bit more about those down below. Okay, so that's the difference. Numeric is just numbers. Algebraic, it has numbers and variables involved. Okay. Now it says, the next part says parts of an algebraic expression. The first part is terms. What are terms? Terms is a group of number and or variables separated by the sign of subtraction and addition. So if we look at this example up here, this has 2 symbols, but it's dividing 1, 2, 3 terms. Okay, so los signos de plus y minus dividen cada uno de los términos. Okay, so you already saw that in here we have 3. There are some algebraic expressions that only have 2 and some have only 1. So this is what comes next. So monomial has only one term. Solamente el monomio tiene solamente un término. So let me give you different examples. So in here you might have 5x, it's a monomial. Or maybe you have 3xy to the second power, that's a monomial. Okay, no hay pluses or minus, there is no pluses or minus in the middle, so that's a monomial. Or maybe you might have just a number. So it can be -6, for example. That will be a monomial. Okay? Okay, so the next one is a binomial. Binomial. Bi means 2. Okay, and so that's why it has 2 terms. And again, it might be separated with a plus or a minus. So you might have something like x plus y. That's a binomial. Or you might have 3xy minus 3. Okay, this is one term, this is another term, and it's separated by the minus. So 2 terms. Or you might have, let's see, z plus 3xyz. Even though this has 4 parts of the term, it's still one term. Okay, and it's being divided by the plus. So one term, two terms. That's why it's a binomial. Trinomial has three terms. And so you might have x minus y minus z. Or you might have 3x plus y minus, or maybe plus 2. Okay, it has 1, 2, 3. This one has 1, 2, 3. Another one might be, let's see, 5w plus 6v minus, and you can even have a negative at the beginning as well. Okay, let's see, minus a. Okay, so that's a trinomial. And polynomials, basically we can just say that all of these are, oh well, it says more than two terms. In here it just means many. Poly means many nomials, okay, many nomials. So we might have, I'm just gonna put them down here. Let me do one with 4 terms. So 5xy minus x plus 2w minus 3, for example. It has 4 terms. And that will be quadrinomial, but you don't have to learn more. I mean, there are names for other ones, but you can just say monomial, binomial, trinomial, and after that you can just call them polynomials. Okay. Okay, so let me use one of these examples. Let me see, which one do I want to use? Maybe I'll use this one right here. Okay, so I'm gonna analyze this trinomial to show you examples for the next vocabulary words. And so let me rewrite that expression. It's 3x plus y plus 2. Okay, so variables, the definition for variables is any alphabetical letter that represents an unknown value. Variables are always positive. So, básicamente una letra que represente un valor que no conocemos. Okay? So in here, my variables are x and y. Okay? Those are the letters. It could be any, okay? Any alphabetical letter. Puede ser cualquier letra para representar un valor que no conocemos. Y yeah. So the next one says coefficient. The number that implies a variable, that multiplies a variable, it is always located to the left of the variables. So el coeficiente siempre está al lado de la variable porque se está multiplicando, okay? It's multiplying with the variable. And it's always on the left, siempre al lado izquierdo. So in here, let me show you the numbers with green. So for the coefficient, the number to the left of x is 3. And next to the y, there is nothing. If there is nothing, that means that there is a 1 in there. Okay? Cuando no hay coeficiente al lado de la variable, quiere decir que el coeficiente es 1. Ojo, la y no vale 1. Su coeficiente es 1. Okay? So that's very important. For the coefficient, when there is no coefficient, it's 1. It doesn't mean that the value of y is 1. It means that the coefficient next to it is 1. Okay? Okay, in constant, let me use a different color. I'm going to use pink. So the constant is a number that stands by itself. Okay? Un número que no tiene variable. So basically, it would be this number right here. and that's a fixed number. So we will just write 2 right there. Okay. I think this is not a good example. This is not a good example for the next part, which is degree. What is the degree of the expression? It is the highest exponent of the expression. So it's going to be the biggest number that is the exponent. So for example, let's look at some of those in here. And here the degree is 1 because there is no exponents. That means that it's a 1. In here, for this monomial, the degree is 2 because that's the highest exponent. And I think those are the only ones that I put. The rest are just 1 because they don't have an exponent. So it's the highest exponent. Let me give you the degree for these examples because we're going to be writing the parts for this one. Okay, so let me see. The number of terms. We're given two algebraic expressions. Nos están dando dos expresiones algebraicas, and we're going to define the number of terms in each one, the coefficients, the variables, the constant, and the degree. So the number of terms in here, well, remember it's not the pluses or minuses, but rather how many terms are around them. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have 4 terms in here. The coefficient is the number next to the variables. So in here we have to be very careful because remember that if they don't have a coefficient, that means that it's a 1 in there. And furthermore, this one has negative, so the first coefficient is negative 1. The next one has 6b cubed, so the coefficient is positive 6. The next one is, next to the c is negative 12. You need to include the sign, okay? Negative 12. And the last one doesn't have a variable, so it's not a coefficient. Okay, for the variables, we have a, b, and c. So we have letter A, letter B, and letter C, and so those are the variables. And the constant is the lonely number. Okay, so we only have one, which is negative 9. The degree is the biggest exponent. So as you can see, we have 7 and we have 3, so the biggest is 7. So that's the degree of this expression. And that's all you need for that one. For the next one, let's see, number of terms. We have 1, 2, 3. Remember that the number of terms, número de términos son separados por minus en pluses. No es cuántos minus en pluses hay, pero los términos que están separados por ello. Okay, so it's going to be 1, 2, 3. So this is a trinomial. Coefficient, all of them have variables, so that means that we are going to get all the numeric parts. So it's going to be 8, it's negative 10, and positive 2. The variables, we have x, y, z. Okay, so those are the variables. The constant, we don't have a constant, so we are going to say not applicable, no aplica. And the degree, we have a 2 in here, and we have a 4 in here. So the biggest one is 4, so that will be the degree. Okay, so now you're able to complete page 2 with this lesson, and I hope you have fun.